As part of our continued efforts to reach the African and other ethnic communities in the United Kingdom with greater impacts and create the platform to hear your silent and unheard views in this hugely growing community in the United Kingdom, our channel BENTV presents to you another live current affairs television program. Our focus on the program is to review and discuss issues around the diaspora community in the UK. The program offers you that unrestricted voice on issues affecting you in the UK. Join us live every Monday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Another business segment of Dialogue in Diaspora, 2 to 3 p.m. every Monday. But guess what? You can be part of the program. Just send us an email at bentelevisionuk@gmail.com. Dialogue in Diaspora, your voice, your opinion on our TV. Hello, thank you for joining us on the program today. And the program is Voice, coming to you from BENTV. This is a program where we'll take a look at legal matters in the United Kingdom. My name is Tunde Alabi. It's a pleasure to have you join us on the program today as we review legal issues and bring information and education to our community on legal matters in the United Kingdom. As usual, my guest in the studio today is Jennifer Obaseki, who is the lead partner at Obaseki Solicitors based here in the United Kingdom. On the show today, we'll be taking a look at changes to immigration rule. First, we'll look at traffic rule, how you may be affected if you're looking to either renew your stay for indefinite, or you're looking to apply for British passport. How can a traffic offense that you have been charged with or about to be charged with become an issue you may have to grapple with while you're trying to apply for your British citizens? And also we'll take a look at other issues, i.e. multiple applications. The Home Office now taking a second look at multiple applications, i.e. if you have an application that is pending and you put in another application. Of course, we do know that there are solicitors all around who will advise you to put certain applications in. Then while you're waiting for response from the Home Office, they quickly tell you, okay, let's put another application. The Home Office is now taking a second look at some of these multiple applications, and they could have a damning effect on your case. And also we'll look at the issue of overstaying and re-entering visa application. There are rules initially, how long you can overstay your visa and how long you're allowed to stay and then reapply for a visa to come in. These are issues we'll be taking a look at on the show today. Make sure you find us it. It's going to be interesting. Let me quickly tell you, this is not a legal advice. If you need a legal advice, you talk to Jennifer Obaseki Solicitors, or you contact your solicitors, or better still, your Citizens Advice Bureau. On the show today, these are the issues we'll be taking a look at. Changes to immigration rule. Jennifer, thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Over a couple of weeks ago, 2-3 weeks ago, there was this new traffic offense regulation, and quite a lot of people fell trap into it. But that's not what we're looking at on the show today. Generally, how does a traffic offense charge become a hindrance to either British citizens application or indefinite leave application?
Well, it all comes down to whether you're a person of good character. If you commit a criminal offence, there's a system which called the spent system, which outlines how soon thereafter you can apply for your indefinite leave to remain. When you apply for your indefinite leave to remain, checks are done against you, but when you apply for naturalisation, more detailed checks are done in relation to your character. And the reason why more detailed checks are done is because you're being accepted as a British citizen. But when you look at the forms, even for your extension of leave to remain, there are new questions which outline asking whether you have criminal convictions and also whether you have civil judgments, civil penalties against you. Again, these all build up towards being evidence as to whether you're a person of good character or not. So a criminal conviction is a criminal conviction, and that is that. You have to declare it on the form for your extensions. And then also, apart from when you're declaring it on the form for your extensions, if you suffered or if you were penalised with a prison sentence or a fine, you are asked to stipulate it on the form. So again, it'll all be down to the caseworker whether they consider the nature of the offence and the penalty so severe whether it could lead to you not being allowed extension in the country. If so, the justification may be one, you're an offender, two, the nature of your offence. If it was maybe downloading child pornography, whether it was a sexual offence, whether it was a repetitive theft offence, or whether you were seen to be a repeat offender, even if it's a petty offence. So, for example, if you have a repeat number of breaking and entries, but you only steal minor things, even though you have not injured anyone, even though you've not stolen something of significant value, the fact that you're a repeat offender may be seen as something that is not conducive within the Home Office policy. The fact that you're a foreign national that's committing an offence, again, seen as not conducive as somebody who is wanted to be maintained in the United Kingdom. When you move on to having your indefinite leave to remain, there are strict rules about when your previous criminal sentences can be considered irrelevant, let's say. The word is spent, the technical word is spent. So again, depending on what the nature of the offence was, what the penalty was, there's a graduating system as to when those offences will no longer be looked at when assessing your application for indefinite leave to remain. What that means is if you receive a serious sentence above 6 months, and even going on to more longer periods of custodial sentences, it will prolong the period for which you can then apply for your indefinite leave to remain. Equally, the same thing when it comes down to your naturalisation. Again, even if the offence is considered spent, but the nature of the offence is considered serious, you may not be considered for your either indefinite leave to remain or naturalisation. An example so that I can make it a little bit clear. So, for example, you commit offence of manslaughter. It's considered that you killed a person in self-defence, but the level of force or the level of aggression used whilst defending yourself was seen over and above what was needed. And therefore, because you were defending yourself, you got a fairly low sentence. Or, again, maybe you killed somebody whilst driving. You don't get an extensive period of time, but maybe you get a short sentence of maybe 3 years. You maybe wait for your spent period to take place, but because the crime is considered heinous or very, very serious, even when the Home Office technically should not look at the offence, it goes against your character, so therefore your application is refused. Don't forget, when you are refused an application, there are rights of appeal. If you feel that the Home Office failed to apply proper policy, if you feel the manner in which the Home Office looked at it was unfair, what the Home Office should do in those circumstances is maybe look at the sentencing remarks of the judges, also look at some of the probation reports that would have assessed the type of character you were or any circumstances that may have led to contributing towards the offence. So if the Home Office omits to look at all of the relevant material, also whether you are a rehabilitated character, fully rehabilitated, contributing towards the community, etc., then it may be an unfair decision. All in all, it's very important that you do take very comprehensive and expert legal advice so that you don't waste the money, A, on the application, and B, that you make sure you put forward the significant and relevant submissions when making the application. With the naturalisation, there is the possibility of a review. The fees for the review have gone up substantially as well. It's over £200 if I'm correct. So if your application for naturalisation is refused, it's already in itself expensive. So again, getting it right from the get-go is very, very important. You did mention traffic offences, and believe me, a lot of the things that were considered just ordinary traffic offences are now looked at as criminal offences. And on top of that, if you have a number of traffic offences such as touting and other things, if they remain, touting for hire, so illegal mini-cabbing, things that were not deemed as serious in the past, these things are looked at very, very seriously by the Home Office now, and will go against the assessment of your being a person of good character. Because not only do you have to meet the criteria for an immigration application, you also have to meet the criteria of being a suitable person, because it's a two-stage test. Do you qualify? Are you a suitable person? So these things can be taken as evidence against your suitability and character in meeting the application that you've applied for.
Well, in terms of suitability, character, assessment, behavioral assessment, the person might fall a little bit below what the Home Office would consider as, no, this person cannot be a British citizen.
The unfortunate thing is it also reflects back to periods when you may have not been documented and worked. The Home Office looks at your HMRC contributions and your records and then assesses whether you were supporting yourself independently during the period that you were not documented. So many people didn't realise that towards the end of 2015 the law changed, and they now looked at the periods that individuals had spent when they were not documented and how they were supported. So if you're going for your naturalisation and you have no evidence of periods where you were undocumented in the UK, it's important now that you get those who were supporting you to testify to the fact that they were supporting you financially or with food or with accommodation, and that's how you sustained yourself, that you were not working illegally, in other words. So if you have periods of NI contributions and pension contributions when you were not supposed to have documents, HMRC will basically be able to show that you were working when you were illegally, when you were not documented.
They will
so
seek
that can
information
be held
from
you.
They will seek
Yes.
information from HMRC to look
Yes.
at your financial contributions to the system whilst you were in the UK, either it's documented or undocumented.
So
that such a piece of information could be used against the person.
And it is a difficult thing to challenge. So what we were seeing is, or what's commonly seen, is that after putting in the application for naturalisation, the Home Office then send a letter saying during these periods, what were you doing, how were you supported, or we have evidence of contributions in this time, how do you explain, or outrightly refusing the application for those reasons. And again, you can not appeal, you can make representations, and if the decision is legally flawed, you can then try to judicially review it. So making sure you've got the right advice from the get-go is essential.
Let's rewind a little bit. If somebody who has indefinite leave to remain commits a crime, an offence that warrants a custodial sentence of more than a year, what are the chances of the person being released back into the community or being deported?
Well, so what that means is if you have a sentence of more than 12 months, whether it's for something very serious or whether it's because you've been referred back for breach of license and then being resentenced for an original offence, it means that you're automatically liable for deportation. There are many young people in the system, or many mature people that have children that think that, oh, I've got children, I will be family life, that will save me. And the judges have repeatedly, time and time again, thrown out such challenges. The only way you can successfully challenge such application for automatic deport is if there is sufficient and extensive evidence that there will be significant harm or there are truly exceptional circumstances. And that's not just having children and a wife. It means that the makeup of that family will come to significant harm without your presence in the United Kingdom or without you being there to support the family. And also you have to show that there's a relationship. Many people, again, in detention have a number of children. Some have 3, 5 children, but yet they can't show that any of those children went to see them when they were in detention. No pictures of them with the children growing up. So just the mere fact that you have children does not stop an automatic deportation. And the challenge for the deportation order has to be made outside of the UK. You can apply once you've left. So unless you can show the good reason to challenge you leaving, i.e. the truly exceptional circumstances and significant harm coming to the family unit or any other individual that you might have to care for, you are leaving the United Kingdom before you even start your challenge. So many of the people,
So
as I
by
say, many
implication-
young people in detention that don't seem to realise that they can be removed and it can be revoked. Again, unfortunately, sometimes papers are served on them when they're in detention. Delay happens, they don't fill out the forms properly before they're sent back to the criminal casework directorate at the Home Office. Insufficient information on the forms. Maybe they're moved from prison to detention centre. The forms get sent to the prison. The person goes to detention centre, gets released by mistake. When they go and sign, they get detained again. So at times there's a lot of administrative mix-up, and then the person gets detained. And once they're detained, the removal is often very rapid. And the cost of trying to challenge it, the strain and stress of trying to even get evidence if there is a case against fighting the deportation order is often very difficult. So if you know you're in detention and you know that your sentence is over 12 months, you start gathering the evidence right at the beginning. If you're caring for children that are ill, that have physical or other emotional issues, you start to gather the evidence. You maintain relationships, you gather evidence of the relationships, you gather evidence of the harm that is likely to come if you are removed. And again, if you know that you're going to have to challenge this decision from outside the United Kingdom, you have to get a very good legal team on board so that whilst you are outside the United Kingdom, you can liaise with them again to present the evidence in such a manner that you have an effective and fair hearing.
Okay, all right. So by implication, if I get this right, even such a person does not have in country rights of appeal.
No, they don't.
And not anymore.
No, as I've said, the only way to challenge it is one, to say, you've made this automatic deportation order against me. However, if I am removed from the United Kingdom, there's going to be X, Y, and Z that's going to happen to my family, and that's truly exceptional due to disability or ill health or whatever it is. Ordinarily, the person is removed because it's a deportation order, and the challenge to its fairness, you can apply for it to be dismissed from outside the country. So that is the only way to challenge it. So you can challenge the attempt to remove you, but you cannot challenge the deportation order in the country. So you have to prove that your removal outside the country is going to breach your human rights or is unfair for whatever reason. But actually challenging the deportation order has to be done outside the country. Obviously, if you overcome the first hurdle of challenging the attempt to remove you because it's going to lead to a significant breakdown of family life, then ultimately you're likely to successfully challenge the issuing of the deportation order. It will be withdrawn. But as I've said, challenging that deportation order has to be done, unfortunately, from outside.
So basically, the issue is that you have an indefinite leave to remain is not a pass or a license to do anything you like.
No.
You'll still be considered a foreign criminal.
A foreign criminal, absolutely.
And so if you get a custodial sentence above 12 months, deportation as a foreign criminal.
Yes, unless you're caring for somebody that is maybe has
extremely
no
exceptional case.
For example, the person, maybe you have the decision-making power for that person because the person has no capacity, or you are caring for significantly disabled children or adults.
All right.
And even that in itself, sometimes the judges are not swayed if there are alternative carers.
So basically, if you are part of the diaspora community, that you have an indefinite leave to remain in the UK, not to even talk about you having a limited leave to remain. I mean, your indefinite leave to remain is not a license for you to misbehave, to do what you like. So the country of law, the Home Office is very strict about maintaining law and order.
Advice. Do you need professional help at a reasonable cost? At Obaseki Solicitors, we have experts in property law, human rights, criminal litigation, immigration, civil litigation, family law, business law, landlord and tenant law, employment law, Sharia law. At Obaseki Solicitors, we can provide you with advice and assistance at all levels. We have over 100 years experience in serving our local communities, and we have a new maritime and international law department. We can help you. Book a free consultation today. Obaseki Solicitors, providing you with advice and assistance at all levels.
Let's quickly, Jennifer, look at a couple of other changes to immigration rule. The issue of multiple applications. We have instances where you go, especially these shallow solicitors out there, these legal advisors, wrongfully give a client a piece of advice, they file in an application, they see the application not going the right way. While the Home Office still considering the application, they give you another advice. Okay, why did you just put this application, make it to application? Well, what is the position of multiple application over same case on the same date on the same person now with the Home Office?
Right. Apart from the fact that if you put in one application, then before you get a decision, you decide, because you've heard some advice from some person, to put in another application without withdrawing the first. You create confusion for yourself and often are spending money unnecessarily. As you said, it's usually bad legal advice or wrong legal advice that lead people to do such things. And also people are desperate. Let's not forget that people are vulnerable and often fall foul to this advice. One of the common scams is putting a stateless person's application. You know, some people unfortunately have been wrongly advised to put in stateless person applications, even though with their main application and initial application they've submitted their passport, which confirms exactly where they're from. Or they've had failed asylum applications in the past stating where they're originally from, but yet now being told to put in stateless applications. Many of these lawyers that tell you to do things like that, they just want to take your money to put in an application. Other people, again, put in maybe an EA dependency application, and due to the delay, maybe are asked afterwards to go and put in one for human rights and do an FLRO. Completely wrong things to be advised. You have to put in an application, and the right application depending on your circumstance. If your circumstances change, then you have to consider, if you haven't had a decision from your first application, if there's need to put in a new application, or B, whether you just update the Home Office about your change of circumstances. That should be the correct thing to do. However, it's important, again, you take advice on it. The other important thing is the Home Office will not consider, when you now put in multiple applications, they've actually stated in the new statement of immigration rules that they will invalidate both applications until a time that they actually write to you and ask you to choose which of the two you want to proceed. Sometimes it can be a bit, or let me say, the only times it used to be unclear would be when you've put in an application and it's been delayed so long in the Home Office. In order for you to move things forward, you might think, okay, now that I've been here 8 years, I put in an application for an extension, and for one reason or another, the Home Office delays, and before you know it, you're here for 10 years and you think, okay, do I just put in an application for settlement? If I put in the application for settlement, will it be considered? So in the past, some people used to think, okay, let me quickly do maybe a same-day appointment application for settlement since the other one has not been decided, so I quickly get my indefinite leave to remain. But now the Home Office have passed this statement that if you have more than one application in, they can have the discretion to invalidate both. So you must take very, very detailed, cogent, expert advice if you feel that your circumstances have changed, how best to present that change in circumstances to the Home Office. And believe me, the best legal advice will be to ensure that you secure the best status for you. Nowadays, it's important that people secure the best form of status they can. So it's important, very, very important, that you get proper legal advice.
All right. Thanks a lot, Jennifer. It's been a pleasure to have you join us on the program. Jennifer Obaseki, he is the senior partner at Obaseki Solicitors based here in the United Kingdom. If you need to get in touch with Jennifer Obaseki, you can reach her on the phone number that is being shown on the screen, or you can just go with Jennifer Obaseki Solicitors. They handle all legal matters, immigration, business, marriage, investment, including property. If you cannot get through to Jennifer, you can reach me on my Twitter, Tunde C3, or BENTV. Then we can take a look at issues. Or better still, you should contact your Citizens Advice Bureau or get a good solicitor to deal with your case. This is how far we can go on the program today. Stay out of trouble, and don't say because you are resident in the UK, definite or indefinite, you can do what you like. Now the Home Office is very strict about certain things, and it's coming down, cracking down seriously on all illegal or criminal issues. Be safe. My name is Tunde Alabi. It's a pleasure to have you join on the program today. Jennifer, thank you for coming on the show.
My pleasure.
Enjoy the rest of it. As part of our continued efforts to reach the African and other ethnic communities in the United Kingdom with greater impacts and create a platform to hear your silent and unheard views in this hugely growing community in the United Kingdom, our channel BENTV presents to you another live current affairs television program. Our focus on the program is to review and discuss issues around the diaspora community in the UK. The program offers you that unrestricted voice on issues affecting you in the UK. Join us live every Monday at 10 a.m. to 12 noon. Another business segment of Dialogue in Diaspora, 2 to 3 p.m. every Monday. But guess what? You know you can be part of the program. Just send us an email at bentelevisionuk@gmail.com. Dialogue in Diaspora, your voice, your opinion on our TV.